Thank you, President Driver, Superintendent. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Again, welcome to the board and also welcome to the jail. Just a few housekeeping items. Restrooms, children's restroom is on the back to the left, women to the right. Also joining us this evening are Alderman Walter Burnett, the 27th Ward. Also joining us is Alderman Odie Scott, the 24th Ward is here. I think I saw a couple of our police district councilors with us as well. Also joining us is Treasurer, my wife, the Treasurer of County Urban, is also with us this evening. And again, just welcome everyone to thank the Superintendent for coming, and the police board for joining us this evening to hear our comments. Thank you.
So again, I'd like to welcome you to the second performance with our newly appointed Superintendent Snelling. As required by the CCPSA ordinance, we had a great meeting last week in Chinatown. There were great questions from the audience, and I'm fully confident that will continue today. The purpose of today's meeting is for community members to share questions with Superintendent Snelling and to provide recommendations to the Commission to perform our work with the Superintendent. If you would like to make a public comment tonight, please fill out a comment card and then give it to one of our staff members who are walking around the room or hand it in the check-in table. So if you'd like to make a comment and you have not filled this out, please alert one of our staff members that you're going to get one and they can bring it up to us. Before we get started, I'd like to thank Cheryl and Gail for hosting us tonight. As you heard from Alderman Earl, I'd like to thank him for welcoming us to the board. There are also some of my fellow commissioners in the room as well. I believe I saw Commissioner as well as a number of police district council members. If you are in the room, you are a member of the police district council, please stand and be recognized. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So a little bit about why we are here. On April 2nd of 2023, the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability initiated a nationwide search for the next superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. Throughout the process, the Commission took a great care to ensure the voices of the community were at the forefront. The Commission conducted 7 community listening sessions across the entire city, including a virtual session and a session in Spanish. The Commission met with 3 unions that represent the vast majority of sworn members of the Chicago Police Department. The Commission developed and circulated several surveys and surveyed community members, organizations, members of law enforcement, and members of the newly elected district councils, and obtained over 600 responses. The Commission also met with 34 subject matter experts and held targeted listening sessions with over 65 organizations spanning across multiple sectors, including activists and advocacy groups, business groups, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, labor groups, legal aid providers, and social service agencies. On July 27th, the Commission nominated 3 people to serve as superintendent, including, at the time, Chief Larry Snelling. On August 13th, Mayor Brandon Johnson selected Chief Larry Snelling to be Chicago's next police superintendent. Chief Snelling was unanimously confirmed by the City Council on September 27th. I will now turn it over to Superintendent Snelling to share some brief remarks before we open our meeting for any questions and comments.
Good afternoon, everybody, and good evening, especially to the west side. First of all, let me thank the Commission, President Driver, and now Vice President Terry for the collaboration and work that we've done together. It's been a great partnership, great relationship with them, getting the information to us that they're both from the community. I look forward to continuing to work with them moving forward.
anyone with a comment will have 2 minutes to speak. When I call your name, which will be randomly selected from this pile of comment cards, I ask you to come up to the microphone, state your name, and spell your name for the record, and then offer your comment. You'll have 2 minutes to either ask a question or offer your comment. If you are unable to make your way to the microphone, please alert someone on staff or alert someone up here on stage and we'll bring the microphone to you. With that, we'll get started. Our first speaker is Wayne James. Actually, since we have a lot of comments tonight, what I'll do is I'm going to call 3 at a time and folks can line up at the microphone. First speaker, Wayne James. Second, Carmelita Burrows. And the third speaker, Kamari Powell.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Superintendent Snelling, for coming out. I first like to acknowledge the fact that the numbers were down for homicide with our very decision of police department, community-based
I don't know where she went, but that was one of the 5 priorities that district council members set as annual priorities for our commission. So immediately when you all sent those over, we began conversations with the superintendent and his team. And if you look at the goals, which we publish in the next couple of days on our website, one of those goals says that within the first quarter, for the first 3 months of the year, we will have clear guidelines around exactly what you're talking about. So we've been in conversations on that specific subject pretty much all in January, and within the first 3 months, there's
making the call areas. And I'm a 30-day hero awardee. Save for youth around the Tennessee before. February 27th of 2024, I'll be celebrating my 50th year anniversary of being the only 30-day hero in Chicago. My love concern is always had a passion for concerning the system violence and other things going on. And a lot of people know me, a lot of people know me, and for some reason they're afraid of me because I'm close to God. You know, I've been out of Sherman Park, as I said, in the youth ground. And during the conversation, they asked me, well, you tell your own story, this and that. But I do know that I love Chicago. And I love the people of Chicago. I love everybody. And these immigrants, these migrants, and we need to treat them as free and family. We need to treat everybody right. And it's coming up with me, probably sometime this week, maybe tomorrow, whatever, concerning the program and the mayor, dealing with the issue of this homelessness stuff. I've been homeless myself, and I'm with that. But if they can take trade, we put them on some of these lots, put a big gas tank out there, and people can survive that way. It's always solutions to everything. It's even solutions to the game. All of this running around the margin, like going through the exorcists and all this kind of stuff, this stuff will work. And the majority of people that are in the program are not criticizing about it. But the thing is, you're doing it on your own, it's not going to work without everything. The people coming together in unity. Different ways you can try, it's fair, but there are solutions. We can even system violence in 5 days if we do it the right way. If we do it with God's counsel. A lot of times we get counsel, but God ain't involved in that.
They cut your mic off, brother.
Dude, I think it's maybe out at that time, but I'm just sharing something with you. And I'm talking about 50 feet.
We appreciate you, sir. We just have a lot of comments to get through, and we want to make sure we can try to do our best to get through everybody. So if you want, I know I can, 20, 30 seconds to speak, but we want to make sure we get through everybody.
Okay, can I get 30 more seconds?
Absolutely.
Okay, I would like to also get involved with the program here. Volunteer. Let ask somebody for the money. I get it. I got documents already set up. I got programs set up. Over 20-something different programs set up. You be able to get them set up. Didn't have nobody to give them to. Didn't have nobody to share them with. I just want you to know, we can say that the community philanthropy. They got multi-millionaires. We put it in each one of them.
We love the work with you, sir. Absolutely love that, sir. I will work on you. Thank you. To the folks up top, if we get just one mic up here, would that make it easier? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joy Guest, and I'm an organizer for Black Lives Matter here in Chicago. I'm also a PhD student, and I came here because I'm doing research on a particular question. What are the impacts the expansion of mass incarceration has on Black women in communities where Black men are taking and being returned? Now, there's been a history of conflict with the Black community and the Chicago Police Department. I'm a part of the struggle historically, right? I was a part of the mental health project, displaced residents, displaced communities, where they had no resources. And our only alternative is to support my family, right? And maybe something is a verse for a crime. But young lady asked a very important question, but she also like my question that we have.
First of all, Joy, I want to say congratulations. When I read in the paper that you were getting a PhD, I was proud of that, right? And listen, we go back to see where it is. But Troy, answer to your question, I think you answered your own question. As a Chicago Police Department, we can reach out to people, but we still have to partner with people like you. The question is, how did you come up out of your circumstances? And how do you provide that message to other people who were under the same circumstances, under the same conditions you are in? How can you provide that message to them and give them some type of uplifting message and serve as an example of what they can be and what they can do? See, there's only so much that the police can do, but sometimes our uniform gets in the way of people wanting to necessarily listen to us or believe what we have to say. But when we're standing next to you and we're telling them that we want them to be great, and then you serve as an example of somebody who was that student and now have a PhD or a PhD student, that is more powerful than anything. So the breakdown here has always been when it's us and them, when there's a separation. We cannot approach this from two different angles. We have to be speaking the same language. And if I can look at you and remember Troy Gaston from about 4 or 5 years ago, and see Troy Gaston standing in front of me today, it's a metamorphosis. And it's an excellent thing to see. So all I can tell you is you keep up the great work, but I would love to hear your voice. I'd love to see you standing in front of a bunch of students telling them that they can have PhDs. That would be a great message coming from both of us.
Not only do I stand on the shoulders of many people from my community, but when I didn't just jump from change within 4 years, I still was doing some messed up stuff. But certain officers, right, use their discretion. And that's what's missing in our community, their discretion.
Okay, good evening, Superintendent Snelling, President Driver, Commissioner Terry. Superintendent Snelling, my jury is kind of still out on you, as district council, because I've had a hard time trying to understand how someone who came up in the system that we were created to bring to, I guess, 21st century, regular compliance. I'm still concerned about that because I know the whole in for a penny, in for a pound type of thing. So I'm still a little concerned to see how you managed to deliver on the things that you said. But my question is, it's a simple one. As a district councilor and a current leader of men and women in the military, I strongly believe that true leaders demand accountability when someone fails in their duty to protect those whose safety they have been entrusted with. As the leader of CPD, will you be holding the commander of the district with a gangland style shooting that recently happened in the middle of downtown, and when the suspects were able to flee from a very busy area on one-way streets, accountable for their failures to protect the public in that arena?
Well, the first thing I'll say is this. We can call that a failure, but understand this, the police can't be everywhere all the time. The failure would be if we didn't follow up and we didn't work toward trying to solve that crime. Now, what I can tell you right now is our detectives are working diligently to solve that crime. One of the things you have to understand is this: when it comes to the police, I will almost accountable for school, going through students, stopping cars with individuals that just because we believe they may be doing something without any reasonable suspicion of probable cause is over-policing and is a violation of individual civil rights. So to say that it's a failure because the police weren't standing in that space at that very moment means that we are judging the police in a way that it's impossible for police officers to police. And allow me to finish this point. We can't go into someone's home when an act of violence is committed at home. But when it is reported to us and it comes to our attention, we have to respond to that. And we have to find justice for those. So I would never call my police officers failures because they weren't there at that moment and were at that time. But what I will tell you is there are leads on that right now. Our officers got the information out right away, and we're working diligently to find those shooters of those two individuals.
Well, I want to say thank you for that response, but my concern still is, how are you making the police to be more proactive instead of reactive?
So, and that's a very good question. Again, proactive policing still has to be constitutional. What I don't want my officers to do is going out there over policing in a way that's going to continue to destroy the relationship between our community members and the police. It still has to be constitutional. We cannot just go out and stop people, stop the first night tactics that in the city of Chicago that we want to leave behind. In the city of Chicago, what we want to do right now is rebuild the relationship between our community members, especially in our most impoverished areas, our areas where they have felt left out the most. So the people who have felt over-policed the most, we got to be very careful about how we stop people and how we police. But I will tell you this, our officers will be held accountable. My commanders will be held accountable. Accountability comes from the top down. And I'll tell you right now, if there's a failure in this department, it's my failure. Because right now, this is my department. These officers are my officers. I'm going to make sure that these officers understand that when they're doing a great job, and I am going to make sure that everybody understands what a great job these officers are doing right now. When our officers step out of line, we're going to make sure that we get them back in line. And if we find someone who doesn't belong in this department, we will get rid of them. But I will tell you this right now. The work that's being done out there right now, being down 16 homicides from the same time last year, being down 60 shootings, being down 65 shooting victims, 65 less people victimized. We're down over 60 people who have been carjacked last year at the same time. Overall, violent crimes are down over 300 incidents. So our officers are working, and they're with the work in right now. We still have work to do, and we're going to continue to do that work, but we're going to do it constitutionally.
Good evening. My name is Princess Shaw, and I'm from the Lawndale community. And so it's great to hear how you're trying to make sure that we're following and the officers are doing things constitutional. I would say I'm a little concerned about that, seeing that the constitutional things is what got us here to begin with, right? That it's based upon a system that's very old. And that's why you have the consent decree and the CCPSA and everything else that's coming about. So my question is to you, as our new leader of the police, what are you willing to do as our new superintendent to challenge those constitutional things? Because one thing is to sit here and say, hey, it has to be constitutional, it has to be right, I'm going to hold my officers accountable, but we're here today because those constitutional things were not working for a very long time. And what I mean by that, I give you a couple of examples. You have certain systems that are in place as far as like bridge and divide. You have some actual smaller violence prevention companies that are working out here that don't get what they need. And when you take those things away, it's just contributing to all the other stuff that's going on in the community. We know for a fact that carjackings, we're talking about there now, it's a trend, right? And so until the police can have a backing not only from the community, but then your constitutional relationship with your peers, the judges, the state attorneys, the public defenders, we'll sit here and talk in circles all day long. So as a superintendent of police now, it's one thing to crack down on these police that have families and live in these communities, but it's another thing to take it to the head. Like when we said the top of the problem, so what are you willing to do in order to make that change?
So there's a lot to unwrap there. Let me just first be clear on what I mean when I say constitutional policing. Everything that we do has to be rooted in some level of reasonable articulable suspicion of probable cause. Reasonable articulable suspicion means that we have reason to believe that a person has committed, is about to commit, or in the commission of a crime. Probable cause is what we need for the arrest. Probable cause says that a crime has been committed, as established, and the person in question, more likely than not, committed the crime. Those are constitutional facts that we need when we're stopping someone or we're making an arrest. So when I talk about constitutional policing, I'm not talking about systems. I'm talking about what we need as police officers when we approach someone. That's number one. Number two, I will tell you this. We don't control the state attorney's office. We don't control the judges. We don't control the federal judges. What we do as police officers, again, constitutional policing, we're building a case that has to be built on the Constitution. Otherwise, those cases are thrown out. So if we don't have that probable cause for an arrest, if we haven't established the facts, if we haven't collected the evidence, then we haven't done our job properly. What we have to do is do all those things that I just mentioned. Collect the evidence. Do the best that we can in our interviews. Interviewing victims, interviewing witnesses, and then we present that case up. Now, I'm not going to sit here and badmouth the court system. I'm not going to badmouth the state attorney's office because they have jobs to do. But all I can tell you is this. On our end, we're going to make sure that we do everything possible to bring justice to families out here by doing our jobs to the best of our ability.
The third thing about these smaller companies that are actually out here doing the work, and you have the monopolization of the bigger companies that keep getting the same number, keep getting the same funding, and we still see the crime rates go up.
Well, what I will tell you is this, when it comes to that, that's not Chicago policing. We don't fund anything. What we do is we work with organizations, but the funding does not come from Chicago policing.
So, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we have to vote. We have about 12 or 14 more people to go. And if you all want to talk to transfer,
No work. We will talk.
Hello, Mr. Superintendent Snelling. I'm acting as assistant with Chicago ICS resident of depression. I hope to have an in-person meeting with you soon. But for now, I want to thank you all for this opportunity to hear from the people in the communities. Earlier today, in my organization was at the City Hall, attending yet another meeting for the second round and vote around the arbitrations. Now, for people who don't know, we have been fighting for months against the Chicago Police Department Union and Fraternal Order of Police to allow officers, detectives, and sergeants who are being rung up for misconduct, hearings to be heard publicly for the community to we as the people who have and are still impacted by police misconduct and continuous mishandling and abuse to the authority that has been given to them, we are demanding transparency. Will you, Mr. Snelling, I hope I'm saying it right, be standing up for the correct justice for all the lives whom have and still doing time, fighting for their freedom from being wrongfully imprisoned by the hands of your now department, hold all officers, bad apples, accountable, past and present, whom broke laws and committed crimes. There is no true justice and or complete public safety without you starting there first. Right is right, wrong is wrong. That's why there's no respect and or trust for some police, because not all are bad and corrupt, but too many officers get away with murder. And we get broken homes and sentenced to life. We say enough with wasting our taxpayers' dollars on corruption. And I hope you didn't lose my question. But my number is on my shirt. I'm directly impacted. Rico Parker Lester Owens was given 24 years for a charge that he did not commit.
So we definitely appreciate you for that at the time. Superintendent's comments.
So here's what I would tell you. There's a lot there, and I can see that passion. As I said, for starters, nothing is worse to a good cop than a bad cop. And when we look at any profession, you're going to find somebody who's not there faithful. And in this profession, and as I said when I started, we find that out, we're going to remove them. We've seen instances across the country where we had people who work for departments who have embarrassed their departments, they embarrassed their agencies, they embarrassed their uniform, quite frankly, they embarrassed their cities. That is not something that I'm going to tolerate. We have too many great officers on this job to let bad apples ruin it for them. You said it yourself. Not every officer is a bad officer. But when we have somebody who is a bad officer, we have to call him exactly what he is. And that's something that we will do. Too many great officers out there doing great work to let a few ruin it for those great officers in this department. So yes, when we have bad officers, I'm going to make sure that we get rid of those bad officers. Absolutely.
Thank you. Three speakers are on birthday, Maldonado, Steve Robinson, and John Wilson. Also, to CCPSA staff, we are absolutely in capacity on the comment about who's running out of time now.
Now, Stephen Robinson, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, Robinson, R-O-B-I-N-S-O-N. My question is to Superintendent Snelling. What are your thoughts about the Chicago Neighborhood Policing Initiative? Do you plan to expand and add more officers? Because I'm hearing words accountability, relationships, partnerships, and for the 4 to 5 years I've been involved as an ambassador, I've seen nothing but great things come out of that program. And I think we need more of it throughout the city, more officers in different watches. What are your thoughts?
Now, I'll agree with you there. Now, here's one of the things that I would tell you about the expansion of it. The expansion of it is going to depend on our recruitment process, the number of officers that we can bring in. Now, we got a workforce allocation study coming up, which will determine myself to help us in the recruitment process, because if we're developing these relationships, we should be developing relationships in a way where we have people from the community who want to come and join the department. Look, let's face facts. We hear a lot about we want to improve the department. We want to see improved relationships. Guess what we need? We need people with your voices to take the test and come be a part of the job. We can't, villainize the profession and then say, we want you to get better, oh, we don't want to be a part of it. The way that you affect anything is from inside out. So, if you know anybody who wants to join the police department, especially from our communities, we know what we need in our communities. Take the test, join the department.
The college credit students say that they're being.
Yes, but there are ways that we're working toward in helping you get those college credits. So we are working toward it. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing me to share my voice. Appreciate it. First thing that I want to say is that, John Boston, Neighbors of River West, also Casino Advisory Council Chair. First on the docket would be Neighbors of River West, and I'm focused on B12, 14, 12 district. We're very well organized in regards to the neighborhood, staying in contact with one another and having a number of emails that we stay in contact with. In the last 2 weeks, we've had an extreme escalation of armed robberies as well as carjackings. As late as Friday was a tough day for the city. Friday night, Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, guys picking up his child from daycare and was carjacked. Fortunately, we started making calls, cameras were paid, and the car was retrieved on Lake Street. We had a good ending. We're still working through all that, which we appreciate. But we had the network, we had the cameras, we had a number of things, and our officers have followed up. I just want to let you know. In addition to that, we also work really closely with all river and making sure that we have a open line of communication with the police, so we appreciate that as well. A lot of times when people come to a neighborhood meeting, there's a lot of complaints, there's a lot of stories that this happened, this happened, this happened. You turn that into an ask. Well, what are we asking to do differently here? So, in response to some of the things that have been going on, here's the ask. The ask is for the 13th police district to be open again. Right now, there's a huge distance from officers being on the north end of the district and having to go back to the south end. Another ask would be to have a commander or command mobile unit there in order to address that right now in the community.
I've actually met with Alderman Vernon about that. I saw him earlier, I don't know if he's still here. But we are in conversations. Opening up another district is kind of started right now. Just to be honest, and honest with you, that doesn't mean that we can't come up with some other solution. So we are talking about these things. And listen, I just want to make it clear. When we talk about these robberies are affecting everybody. Especially right in the 11th district. This is where we're seeing a lot. We have a robbery team that's working on this. We have a plan moving forward where all of our bureaus are working together. We have seen a great reduction in armed robberies. We're down about 200 incidents from last year. Still, again, we have work to do. Even if there's one, when you say there's a reduction, that one person who's been robbed, it doesn't feel happy about that safety. So we're going to continue to move in that direction to make sure that we keep the crime down. But I have had this conversation along the way. Thank you.
Our next speakers are Tamiko Hope,
start happening right away. Because our people are dying in the black community. It seems like nobody cares. Because they're not even pretty much talking about it and act like that it's not a drug problem amongst our youth and our young adults. Number two, black women. Black women are coming up dead. Black women are coming up missing, and none of those crimes are being solved. I advocate for Treasure Hendricks that was stopped in a police RV and accidental overdose, fentanyl was involved in. It's a problem in our communities when you have CIs that you use that's pretty much involved in the most heinous crimes. We're gonna need that to stop. We're gonna need you to pretty much start locking them up. I don't care what they're telling you. Because the crimes that they're doing don't match. They help perpetuate the violence and things in our communities. Enough is enough. We got to start at home too. But at the same time, we don't need them abusing their relationships with you either. While they out here pretty much running around doing just as much crime. Number four, junior policing. You remember that some job program that they had? We're gonna need that to come back. Because that's another avenue to filter our youth being interested in being police officers. So we can get more officers on the force that look like us. Start them off early. Is that okay?
That's perfect. And so let me start backwards from that. We talk about youth policing. We have a cadet program which is brought a bunch of cadets in. We also have something called the CCPSA program. We started in high school. Juniors, seniors in high school. 2 years as part of that program, they come into the Chicago Police Academy and they work with the fire academy. So it's the Chicago Police Fire Training Academy. When they successfully complete that program, they get a 2-year scholarship to the junior college, get their 60 credit hours. And they're first in line to get a job as a Chicago police officer or a Chicago firefighter in that skill. Usually the Chicago Police Department, we're hiring a lot more than our firefighters. So there are programs out there like to get people in there. But as you mentioned, the junior police, these are things that we can do to expand those programs. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where we need to start. So you want to right. And that's something that you like to be involved in. We love to have you help. Number two, the fentanyl issue. The fentanyl issue is a huge issue. And I can tell you right now, I'm from the field of terrorism. It's something that we've been working with. We don't just work as a Chicago Police Department, and we work with our federal partners. And we have made major arrests in distributors. But the fentanyl problem is way bigger than anybody would ever imagine. We need everybody involved. So the thing is that we can't lock people up. Just like the crack cocaine is the biggest thing out there. Fighting more crack one day at a time. So we are working on that. Now I will tell you this. The issue of missing black women has been an issue for a while. This is something that we've been working on for a few years now. We actually put some whole case videos together on YouTube and kind of film out the wayside. Right now, the tech division is working hard on programs right now to deal with missing black women and crimes against black women. We know how much black women are being victimized right now. How much they've been victimized in the past. We're working on programs right now. And this is something that our chief of detectives will be able to talk about soon. So we are working on that. I do acknowledge that what you're saying is absolutely correct. So I wouldn't dare sit here and tell you that none of that is true. It's absolutely true. But these are things that we are working on.
CI?
So we got to move forward. We got to move on.
Everybody, my name is Jose Manuel Massa, J-O-S-E-N-A-N-U-E-L-A-L-M-A-S-A. Lifelong Westsider, born in St. Anthony's Hospital, raised in a little village, and I now live and work in North Longville, here in the West Side. So I'm no stranger to gun violence, and unfortunately here community. So it's with that experience that I stand here before you to ask you, Superintendent, since you're the leading the police department, you're making the head decisions. How are you assessing tools like ShotSpotter and strategies like traffic stops to decide if they're worth the police capacity and our taxpayers, our taxpayer money? Thank you.
We'll go back to the ShotSpotter thing again. Let me just be clear about ShotSpotter, because there's a lot of talk of ShotSpotter. I'm going to say it again, like I said 1,000 times. Any technology that's going to help us save lives, I am for it. It is the most important thing to understand that if we're going to move forward in policing, and we're going to police in a different and new way, we have to be able to utilize technology. There's a lot of things out there about ShotSpotter and what ShotSpotter does. It's sound detection. What it does is it detects the sounds of gunshots. It allows our officers to get to the job quicker. I said it before and I'll say it again. I will tell the story to everybody sitting here right now. We created a video where officers showed up to a scene where nobody wanted the police there. The individual who was allowed to scream, yelling at the police was wearing a shirt that said F-12. And he made it clear that that's how he felt. He screamed at the officer, told him we didn't need you here, and he had a few choice words that he would say there for the police officers. Police officers left that scene. About 10 to 15 minutes later, there was a ShotSpotter alert. It was a sound detection alert. The officers went back to the scene. Guess who's on the ground with several bullet holes in his body? Those same officers who had been berated by this individual rolled that individual over, found every hole number one, when we talk about 100 detectives, we got a class coming up in the month of February, and we have a second class that will be happening somewhere after the DC. So we're on the track to get to the point with Mayor's promise of 100 detectives. When it comes to the armed robberies, we have a plan in place. Our officers are locking up armed robbers. There was a time when we knew we had a robbery room, and we locked up that robbery room. We knew that we couldn't get to that happen. However, what we see now are reoffenders, juvenile reoffenders, and adult reoffenders. There are people who are out on electronic monitoring, who are committing crimes while they're on electronic monitoring. There's brazeness out here, and it goes to the level of accountability. That accountability is in courtroom. That accountability is in charge. So there are a lot of times that these individuals are being charged, and we're working with the state's attorney on these cases. We're getting charges approved, but those repeat offenders are coming right back out and committing the same crime. A lot of times, often, we look at our police officers and look at the police department, and we believe that they're the only enemy out there when it comes to fighting violent crime. Imagine how frustrating it is when officers lock up someone who has committed a violent crime against someone, much like a family member. And some of these officers who themselves have been victims of armed robbery, and then you see those offenders back out again, committing the same crimes. All I can tell you is this: we have a plan, and our plan, and as a matter of fact, I believe the area here had a meeting with all this about our plan when it comes to the robberies. Our Bureau of Counterterrorism, along with our Detective Bureau, along with our Bureau of Control, are working in lockstep together. We're using technology, every single thing else that we can use. Our LPR readers, we're looking at stolen vehicles. Right now, we know that when a vehicle is stolen, that vehicle is used in secondary crimes, mostly robberies and other vehicle hijackings. We managed to cut those in hand. And we managed this last year, at this time, there were 2,600 vehicles stolen. It's still 1,000 at this point. We've got it in hand, but it's still 1,000. So we are working. We're going to continue to work that way. I've had meetings with the state's attorney about what we're going to do moving forward. We're going to have monthly meetings on that to make sure that people are held accountable after we lock them up. So I understand what's going on and why you're working so hard right now. And I'm pretty sure you may have reached out. You said that you came to headquarters, you probably reached out to our people. So if you need us with some information, then we'll follow up. The sergeant. Okay, we'll follow up. Yes, ma'am.
The next three speakers, Mark Coffer, Roger Romanelli, and Martha Blakely.
Shots fired. Officers respond to shots fired, and there's no witnesses, but there is property damage. How do they follow up on that? Are they supposed to do a report and follow up with the witnesses that they gather? Or do they just leave the city and leave it up to the residents?
Well, they are supposed to canvass the area to look for evidence, and if there's some damage done, there should be a report done. Now, if you find who that property belongs to, so that they can put that information into a report. So if you see some damage, you tell those officers that you need a report for the damage, those officers will report.
So will they follow through and will they take bullets?
Yes.
Will they follow through with us?
Yes.
Residents?
Absolutely, because that's what they're there for. They'll collect the evidence. There are times that we collect evidence, shell cases, things of that nature. We put it through a reminder system, and we're able to detect sometimes where what gun that those particular shots were fired. No. The officers left the scene because there was nothing else left for them to do. There was an alert, a sound detection alert. They brought the officers back to the scene and they saw the individual shot. That's right. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. My name is Roger Romanelli of Chicago's Fulton Market Association. We're a nonprofit group, and you spell my name Roger R-O-G-E-R Romanelli, R-O-M-A-N-E-L-L-I. I want to say how sorry, truly sorry I am, the woman who talked about her brother and every other victim of crime in our city. Superintendent, I'm sure you agree. We owe it to the victims to have a city that is crime-free, and we pledge that to you. You talked about technology, so I want to give you some suggestions if it's okay. I researched the Chicago Police Department website prior to tonight's meeting, as well as the OEMC website. Now, we need to boost participation in beat meetings, but if you look at the CPP map, the beat maps are not fully prominent and accessible on either the CPP website or each district's webpage. So people can learn about their beats, get involved, and then great ongoing dialogue cooperation with your officers. So I ask you, please put the actual e-maps all around the websites and the individual district pages. Now, when it comes to our beat meetings, only 2 of your 22 districts allow Zoom call participation as well as in person. We know Zoom calls are effective, and it's really confusing to me that we don't have a district-wide standard that the Zoom calls allow all throughout. The last thing I'll say is cameras. We're trying to get businesses to put in cameras. We're asking the mayor to put in more cameras. So I ask you and the commission to answer this question tonight. Chicago is sitting on almost $2 billion TIF dollars. And yet we've got aldermen saying we can't use 1 penny of our TIF dollars, not only for cameras, but for other anti-crime efforts. Would you please answer either tonight or going forward? Why on earth can't the people of Chicago use our TIF tax dollars for either police cameras or putting cameras on the building or helping us reduce drug dependency?
You already, so I want to say one, I'm not an alderman, Commissioner or Superintendent Alderman. We don't have any budgetary authorities when it comes to funding that nature. So I'm answering this question as Anthony, and not as the president of CCPS. I want to be clear about that. What I think what y'all are trying to articulate to you is that TIF funds are for white communities. What happens is that's what development. Those funds, when they create a new TIF, those funds are made to go and develop communities that have been disinvested and impoverished. It's made to spread love, it's made to create jobs, it's made to create businesses. That's not an actual function. Crime fighting, camera is not an actual function of what a TIF is like to be used for. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm just giving you my informed perspective as a president, as a person who's done many TIF fights before, who used to work in an alderman's office. Those funds are specifically allocated for communities to develop them. I don't know how they would justify spending money that was supposed to residents, taken out of their pockets, that we're going to use to develop their community, and then they turn around and spend those funds on camera usage last name right, I'm not gonna argue with that. But the last name is right.
That were available that the stations offer. The thing that I found out about when I was working in the police store is that we didn't always need them to the area. So I got marshal, that's why I knew about it. But when I talked about it in the neighborhood, they didn't know anything about it. So I'm gonna ask maybe whatever it is you're doing at the station, spread out in the community, because if you can reach a kid, like you said, each one reach one. So if you can put that information out in the community, you can make a difference.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Cornelius Longstreet, Longstreet, and this is directed at you, Superintendent Snelling. There was a thing that was initiated by State's Attorney Kim Fox, where they made a list of officers that were not going to be allowed to testify in court because allegedly they were not credible. Has there been any plan by the police department to meet with the state's attorney to determine if each one of those officers should not actually be allowed to testify in court? Because a lot of those officers have cases pending, and all of have not done anything wrong, and just alleged to have done something wrong.
Yeah, well, you're right. So here's what we're doing with that. We have met with the state's attorney on that. And that's something that we're working out right now. So those officers that asked for hearings, we're waiting on those hearings. And as soon as those hearings come up, then the determination will be made that those officers can go back to testify. Because you're right, there are some cases where officers have not been found guilty of any wrongdoing, and they're on the list for a particular reason. Also, there are other investigations that are tied to a couple of those too that are being worked on and being worked out. We got the Bureau of Internal Affairs working on that, and they're also working with the IG's office to try to clear those things.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So our next speakers, Miriam Monroe, Messiah Travis, and Connor.
How are you?
How are you? First of all, I want to say thank you to Commissioners Driver and Camille Terry for representing the Black community on the commission. We are grateful to have a superintendent that has cultural competency that we need in the city of Chicago. My question to you is the same question I asked when you came back to Chicago as I mentioned in LACP. What are your priorities for training, the need for training for Chicago Police Department in the mental health realm? What are those priorities that you have?
So training, especially for mental health, is one of the most important things that we can possibly talk about. Now, one of the things I'll tell you is that, I developed de-escalation training for law enforcement engagement in 2016, and in that, an entire day was dedicated to the recognition of mental health and mental health awareness. Moving forward, these are things that we're going to continue to do because that's all part of de-escalation. When we recognize that someone is in crisis, then an officer, when time allows, that officer can utilize time, distance, and additional resources to resolve those issues so that they don't turn into something more volatile, more violent, or even possibly deadly. So we've seen a decrease in the way that officers respond to it when it comes to violence. We've seen a decrease because our officers are responding in a way that they're recognizing someone who is in crisis and taking their time and calling for additional resources to resolve that issue with the least amount of force possible.
Good evening. Congratulations. My name is Messiah Travis. I'm speaking on behalf of my son. He's a Northern Illinois graduate. Graduated from Northern Illinois and they started the academy in August 2002. He was dismissed after 2 weeks with allegations that he's a BD or a ganger. I grew up legal. There were no allegations that were found. I reached out to the academy. I was basically told that my son was wrong and speak for himself. I let my son go through the process and get to run around over and over again. My son been playing football since he was 10 years old. Played Division I football for Northern Illinois, 2 years with a graduate bachelor's degree, and he still had 2 years of eligibility to play. He gave up those 2 years to move on with his life and want to raise a family in state Chicago. We were dismissed after two weeks with allegations of being to run around and stand here before you. Everybody thought that they wanted Chicago police to be allegations of community, look like community. His class was like 6% black. Chicago seemed like they don't want black firefighters, they want black police officers. Something needs to change. And I want to know what you're going to do about it and we follow up on this issue. And my son was also doing my hires as a 23-year-old male working in law enforcement. It's really old. He has several felonies on his record. He has concealed carry. Everything is clean on his record. Nothing is the same thing. Something needs to be done. And he's sitting there rolling around in his
color. We need police officers. So I want everybody, but it doesn't mean that we have to make the effort to bring in officers of color. We want to continue to do that. That's why I'm asking people in this room to recruit from the neighborhoods. But what I will do is take a little look at what happened in that situation, because I'm not aware of the details of it. And then I'll do a deep dive into why he's on the higher levels, and that's the case.
And messages and emails, I have no response. I don't know if you received your emails or your messages. I'm not going to put it on you because it's people in front of the secretaries. I don't know if they relay the message, so I can't put it on you. That's all I'm for you.
We'll get some information. We will have some of this information.
I'm trying to figure out if you're trying to bring person that spoke at the city council, I'll leave all their clothing, Robert. Thank you, that's all.
Good evening. I want to thank all for providing a platform for the community violence intervention community, virtual community, where we can hear some of our perspective and questions that we have related to the work that we do. I come to you on behalf of an organization called Metropolitan Peace Initiatives. We are a fundraiser, convener, capacity builder, trainer on behalf of a coalition of 13 organizations that work in the 27 highest gun violence communities. My name is Tommy Couray, K-A-N-U, last name I-H-E-U-K-U-M-E-R-E, and I have a question and a suggestion. I'll ask the question first. There's been extensive conversation and comments about being able to access youth. One of the biggest barriers that practitioners and organizations in the community violence intervention space have is access to CPS. Our frontline workers, our street outreach personnel, someone made a comment on officer friendly. In 2024, there's also street outreach worker friendly. And these men and women have the relationships and credibility, the bulletproof jackets they wear are there, the relationships, the knowledge, and the respect that they have and receive from those that are at the highest risk of gun violence and at the highest risk of being victims of gun violence. So, from where we said, to the extent we can have access to students, youth in CPS, being able to adopt trauma-informed care engagement, I think it will go a long way. So my question is there an opportunity for the CDI community to work with the CCPSA and the district councils, as well as the Superintendent Snelling, to see that to really, I think it will go a long way.
Here's what I'll tell you from our end, is the CBD will always work with partners, especially when it comes to dealing with our gun violence and reducing gun violence. However, I will say this, when it comes to CPS, that's a question for CPS. There's not much that we can do there. We do what we do on our end as a police department, and we're willing to work with anyone who is looking to reduce gun violence and work with the youth. And I'll refer to President Driver.
Yes. So yes to your question, which is partially why the majority of the CDI organizations in this space got a direct invitation from us. It did not go out in a general mailing list. We sent an email invitation to you all directly. So we look forward to continuing any conversations you all would like to have related to the topics that you brought up under our purview. So yes. So we have one final question before we turn it over to President Driver to close us out. And this person did not leave a name, so I'm just going to ask a question. So it says the 11th District 2024 priority goals included a focus on the drug dealing challenges from approximately Kedzie to Pulaski, Washington to Division. What recourse can citizens
The 11th district has made challenges when it comes to open air programs. And what I can tell you is that we've done a lot of long-term investigations over there. We've cleaned up certain corners, but that doesn't alleviate the problem. It continues to happen. Now, when we talk about accountability, because that was the question when it comes to the 11th district, there's never a problem with reaching out to the 11th district, reaching out to the commander, the area deputy chief, and obviously if you don't feel that you're getting satisfaction, you can reach out higher. We will be working in collaboration, and I'll tell you this right now, the 11th district is probably not only the most challenging district in the city of Chicago, state of Illinois, it is probably the most challenging district in the entire country. There's a lot of work that's being done over there, our officers, and a lot of great work being done. Our commander is doing a great job over there, working collaboratively with the outlying districts, the bordering districts, and working across those borders. But when it comes to accountability, if you feel that you're not getting the satisfaction, continue to reach out to your commander. If you feel that you're not getting satisfaction there, reach higher. We will respond to that. We get a lot of calls in from the 11th district. There's a lot of work being done over there. I can't say enough about work that the officers doing, even with it being short-handed. So we'll continue to do what we need to do, put resources in that district to make sure that we can help out the residents of the 11th district. The last thing we want to see, and I know from growing up in a community like that anyway, is that a lot of residents feel like their prisoners in their own homes. And we have to work toward those who feel that way. It's our responsibility. But again, as we're working in partnership, it's easier to get to that accountability state because we know each other. We learn from each other. We know each other's problems. We have a working relationship, and if we have that, we can always get to the problem a lot better.
So that concludes the public comment period of our forum. I'd like to thank the public. Thank you, Superintendent Snelling. I don't believe all the members who are here would like to thank you for welcoming us to the 28th Ward. Thank you, Dr. Miller. Thank you, Mr. Taylor, for hosting us. I personally like to thank you all for coming out. I always give Commissioner Terry a hard time about being a West Sider, but it's all true. I really love coming to the West Side. I really love being with you all. I'm very happy that we got a chance to do this. The only other announcement that I'd like to make is that applications are open. If you see yourself being up here, both of these forms, working towards policing accountability, working towards the community, working towards more transparency, I would encourage you to apply to be a member of the commission. Those applications close on February 7th. There are community council members here who are in charge of that process as well as staff. Please reach out to them if you'd like to apply. That website is cityofchicago.org/Chicago Community Commission. And the last announcement is you've been hearing a lot about tap fire. Our commission is determined to get to the bottom of this. We've been petitioned by folks, and we will be going and hearing on sound detection technology and how it's used within the Chicago Police Department, as well as the Office of Emergency Management and Communication. That hearing will be February 8th at 6:30 p.m. It'll be at the Architects Bible Church. That address is 1210 West 78th Place, Chicago, 60620. So, hope you all